Hey, what's up, everybody? We are 1 week away from the Burr month. We're almost like a week. I love September, October, November, December. Love those months. This weekend, I just wanted to discuss 5 things that I found very interesting around the world. I want you to stick around to the end because I'm going to tell you a love story. I was able to introduce some people, and it's going well. All right, the first thing that I found interesting this week, and I'm not going to say the guy's name because I don't want to give this guy any more attention. But he was a former NBA basketball player. And then it didn't go well for him in NBA. In fact, him and I have something in common. Him and I have the same amount of points in the NBA. I have none, and he's got none. The difference is that he was a first-round draft pick. He ran for office, didn't go well. His platform was not very enticing, I guess. But now, since everything is not going as planned for him, I guess he's looking for something else to kind of put his energy into. And now he is threatening to sue the WNBA if they don't let him enter the draft in 2027. You heard that correctly. He's trying to bully the WNBA that if they don't let him enter the draft in 2027, he will sue them. He's identifying as a transgender or whatever game he's playing. It's a little bit embarrassing if I were him, but all right, let's play along. Here's what I'll say, okay? I'm begging the WNBA to let the dog catch the car. In other words, let him enter the draft. I want the Dallas Wings to draft him, okay? Because they fly the most. He has an anxiety disorder that doesn't allow him to travel, to fly. So when he was in the NBA, they had to drive him in a bus to games. It was a big mess. I would love the WNBA pay him the league minimum. In the contract, it says that he has to be at every game or he will be fined X amount of dollars. And if he doesn't fly, he's responsible with the team. He is responsible for his own way of getting to games. Can you imagine if they have a game, which does happen, 2 days later in Seattle from Dallas, and he's got to drive the 35, 40 hours straight to make the game, and then let him sit on the bench. Just every game, maybe like if you have a lead and there's a second left in the game, call timeout and let him go in. And then the game finishes. And just let him ride the wave. And then at the end, let him ride the bench. And then once in a while, let him go in with a second left. And just, you know what? Let the dog catch the car. For me, for my benefit. I'll even pay his salary. Please. All right. Second thing I learned this week. I used to be a school teacher, believe it or not, when I was 22, 23, 24. I taught for 3 years in South Texas. I loved teaching. And being a public teacher was amazing. I had all types of students. I had really advanced students. I had students from all walks. And I can share stories about how, you really are someone's hope, And, but I've learned recently that schools where I came from, schools all over the country actually are losing money. They're in massive deficits. And the one school that I was thinking about that I spoke to a friend and I looked it up, and it's a school district called Edinburgh ISD. So they have a lot of schools in Edinburgh. Edinburgh is in South Texas, and they have a massive deficit going into the next year or this budget. And so, and I said, why is that? I kind of looked into why are they losing money as opposed to before? Well, there's a lot of it is enrollment is down. Okay, well, why is enrollment down? Apparently, a lot of charter schools have opened up. Apparently, a lot of them are going homeschooled. And then immigration has a lot to do with that as well. People are just leaving. They're leaving the country. And so you're starting to see they're not going to have layoffs, but they're going to have cuts to programs. And if somebody does retire, they just won't open the position up. So the thought of these public schools suffering financially, it's kind of difficult because that was our lifeline growing up. That's where we went to eat. That's where we went to form a community. All these things that come with it. And it's sad that they're not financially making it anymore. In fact, close to 50% of the schools in America are operating in a negative. The Chicago ISD is one of the biggest ones. Almost $1 billion a year. They're losing. My daughter, we live in Arizona, and my daughter asked me, "Dad, did your hometown only have one high school?" Because to her, it doesn't really make sense. And like, yeah, we only had one high school because where we live, there's at least four schools I can think of within like a 5 mile radius from our house. Four massive high schools, and she didn't quite comprehend that we only had one high school in my area. And I said, listen, the beauty of growing up where I grew up, it was our town against your town in football, basketball, whatever it was. And it created this rivalry that was fun. I didn't have any friends from other schools. My daughters, they're friends from all these schools, and so there's no rivalry there. So the fact that these public schools are kind of falling apart, man, it's kind of sad. It's really sad. All right. The third thing that I learned this week is, and I talked about it last week a little bit. I talked about how as a country, we're operating in a deficit. Our national debt just surpassed $40 trillion. And the question I have is like, well, how does that affect us, right? Like, what's going on here? And a lot of things I came across is that we actually are paying interest payments. And so right now, about 14% of our federal budget goes to paying on the interest. By the time my daughters are 25 years of age, almost 20% of our national budget will go to paying interest. But I want to know, like, well, how do we fix that? What's the worst case scenario? Well, let me give you an example of a worst case scenario. So when I married someone who has traveled the world. She's been in all different countries, and that's how she spent her summers, and that was kind of amazing. And one day I was cleaning our garage, and I came across these bills. They're $20,000 bills, and they're how do you say this? Bolivares? I think I said it correctly. So this is the currency in Venezuela. And so this was about a decade ago. And so I went to my computer. I'm like, well, what's the conversion rate so I can get a US dollars? And at the time it was like 8,000 US dollars. And so I'm like, sweet, let's go to a bank. Let's convert this to American dollars. It's beautiful. Look at that. And turns out that the Venezuela currency, the government is really, they don't have any faith in the money. The people don't anymore. And so I can't even buy a cup of coffee with this anymore. It's not worth the paper that it's printed on. It's kind of weird. They were printing too many bolivares. I think I said it, bolivares. Bolivares. Anyways, doesn't sound right. Bolivares. Bolivares. Anyways, they were printing too many of them. They weren't producing enough goods. And eventually people lost faith in their currency, and it's not worth anything now. We still have a lot of faith that we can pay our debts. So people are investing in our debt. And so people buy our debt and we just pay them the interest. But what happens if someday they don't have any more faith in it? Could we become a government or its currency has no value? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm very nervous about our national debt. I'll tell you that. Just not very happy about it. All right, number 4. Oh, here's a little question for you. Who was the last president that had a surplus? I was very interested to know that because everybody has added to the national debt, some very little. Our latest administration is really out of control. And even under Biden, it was out of control. But the last president, can you tell me which president was the last president that we had a surplus? I'll give you the answer. Bill Clinton. Under Bill Clinton, we had a surplus, and we even paid off some of the debt. He still added some, but we were at some point bringing in more than we were spending. Somebody commented on one of my posts recently, because I had talked about it before, and they were like, "This is a stupid post. Do you have a solution? What do you want to do? To cut Medicare, Medicaid? You want us to cut Social Security? What do you want to do? What's your solution?" I said, yeah, I have a solution. It's a very easy solution. And I'm going to give this solution for free to anybody that wants it. You can apply it to your own home. You can apply it to your own business. You can apply it to whatever you want to apply it to. Here's a secret. Spend less than you bring in. I'm going to say it again. Spend less than you bring in. Okay? If you're spending more than you bring in, you're going to go into negative. And how do we bring money into this country? Is mostly to taxes, right? So we should never say cut taxes and then also talk about increased spending. That's not going to work. So I am not a politician. I am not in that position. But I come from a world where if you can't do the job, we'll find somebody that can. And if you're in office, whatever level, and you can't do the job where you follow the formula I just gave, let somebody else add it. Let somebody else try it. We should wipe out everybody and start from scratch because it's not working. Anyways, the fourth thing, this is kind of like interesting to me. I came across an expert when it comes to, rewiring the way we think, manifesting, meditating. His name is Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I came across a couple of his books and a couple of his videos. And it's all about to live your happy life and to manifest a more affluent, a richer life, not richer financially, but richer richer in the way you approach life. And this morning I tried to meditate. Now I meditate differently than you do. I meditate when I run. I go for a run and I just kind of I meditate. But for the first time I started to manifest and what I want out of life and how can I maximize what I'm doing in this space. Which is kind of interesting because full transparency, I'm in the middle of, I should be done pretty soon with a movie script that I'm working on. And it's about an older individual in his 50s who has lived a life of routine, right? At one point, this individual had a full life, and then adulting happened, marriage, divorce, kids, and this individual is kind of like living a routine life, and it's for sure not living a full life. And this is in my script, right? And so it's too late for him to be rewired. He's not in a situation where he can be rewired. It's not going to happen. He's got a very comfortable job. He's got a very comfortable way of living, and so he's not living his full life. But he gets diagnosed with a terminal illness, and it forces him to take action, and it changes him. So it's kind of like it mirrors what Dr. Dispenza is trying to preach. So anyways, I found that very interesting, and I'm going to keep on reading his books. I'm going to keep on meditating, keep on manifesting. All right, the last story, I promise you I'll stick to the last one. It's going to be a good one. So I come from a Hispanic culture, Chicanos, mainly Tejanos. And in our culture, a lot of my classmates got married very young. I don't know why, but being married at 19, 20 was not abnormal. What was abnormal was someone like me who waited till his 30s to get married. I just had a lot of things I wanted to do, and being married wasn't one of them at that time. Not that I was being selfish. My dad I was selfish, but there was just so much to do that getting married didn't seem like it was in the books for me at an early age. Well, a lot of my friends are now divorced, and they're in this midlife where I have a lot of male and female friends that are just divorced. And my curiosity, because I got married later in life, my curiosity is always so now what? What do you date? Are you looking for love? And this all started like a decade ago, these questions coming around. And over time, a lot of these, my former classmates or friends that just were divorced in their 40s, at first there was energy to meeting somebody. And then it just kind of they got more and more comfortable living alone. That a lot of them are like, hey, I don't ever want to get married ever again. Or, I like being single. And it's a lot of them. It's not a few people. It's a lot of people. So anyways, I have a really good friend, and I'm going to call him Ray. And every time I would speak to Ray, I was like, hey, so what's your situation? Have you met somebody? And he would always tell me like, no, man, I like my single life. No, 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 always, always. No, no, no. I mean, this has gone on. I mean, we're approaching like almost 15 years where he's like, I don't ever want to, be in a situation again or get married or I'm good. I'm good. Always saying I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. And recently, and I'm like, but you're getting to that age where like, do you want to like live the rest of your life alone? Like you've got a small window to meet somebody before like it's too late. I mean, I guess you could always find love later in life, but my point is like, don't you want to enjoy these great years? Because I think we're at a great age where like you want to be with somebody. So anyways, and he's a man of no action. He does not like to ask anybody out. He's too like that's not his thing. But he called me recently. He says, hey, I just got back from the coaches clinic in Houston. All the coaches in Texas go there. And we always have the normal conversation. What did you learn? He goes, and he always tells me, I saw your brother. My brother's a coach as well. Those kind of conversations. And then he said, hey, I met somebody. Okay. I'm listening. He's like, I follow her on Facebook and she's tall. She's attractive. She's fit. I was like, okay. And he's like, well, I just met her. We shook hands. Okay. And he goes, well, that's it. So you didn't get her name? You didn't get her phone number? You didn't get anything? He goes, no. Okay. Well, where does she live? And because we're talking about the whole state of Texas. He's like, well, she lives in the town nearby. Okay. Well, what's her name? And he told me her name. I said, I actually know her. Hold on. I'm going to send her a text. He says, no, don't do that. I was like, no. I'm going to send her a text. Just a simple text. And when I went to my text messages, my last text message with her, I was trying to set them up. But I was inquiring with her, like, hey, are you single? I have somebody for you. I think you guys would be perfect for each other. I said, let me just feel him out. And that's where it ended. I did not text anything back. I guess when I went to go feel him out, he was telling me like, no, I don't want to date anybody. I don't like being single. So I left it alone. I said, hey, Ray, you're not going to believe this, but I tried to set you up with her 4 years ago. But you kept telling me like, no, I'm good. I like being single. He's like, oh, man. He's like, that would have been so good, so cool. It's like, well, let me see what I can do. Let me call her. So I called her. And she knew why I was calling. She's a really good friend of mine. She's the sweetest thing on earth. And she's like, and I say, hey, you met a friend of mine? She goes, I'm aware. Yeah. And I could sense that she reciprocated the same feelings towards him. So it was good talking to you. We'll talk later. So I call Ray. I say, hey, Ray, you've got the green light. Ask her out. That was July 22nd. What's the day? That was July 22nd, 2026. They are officially committed in a committed relationship. They are extremely happy. Everything about it is check. They're just so good together. Everything about them fits. It took a while, but here they are. And I have a feeling it's going to go very well long term. I have a feeling that this is finally, he's going to be in the right situation finally. His first marriage was a little rough. It just didn't fit. And it wasn't a fit for him in so many levels. This is a very natural fit for him and for her. And I'm just really happy that 1 month later, they were like fully committed to one another. Yes! All right, man. Listen, if I got you to think about anything, if I got you like thinking about certain subjects, do me a favor, man. Hit subscribe, hit like. This is what this channel is about. I call it Pensando Out Loud because I'm literally just thinking out loud. And I want kind of have conversations with people. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe, hit like if I got you to think about anything. Even if you don't agree with me, I get it. I don't need you to agree with me. But, let's have a conversation. I am going to talk about manifesting and meditating more next week because I'm going to try it all week. So anyways, all right, man, I appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful week. We're close to the September month, the Burr month. Here we go, baby. All right, man, everybody take care. Stay cool. It's hot out there. All right, man.